Right, a video is recording now. I look a bit of a mess because basically I have. Well, I've got up a while back, but I haven't brushed my hair yet, and I thought I didn't need to at the moment because I'm not going out yet. So when I go out a bit later, if I do, I'll brush my hair basically. But for this but well, I suppose people say, maybe that's a good idea, brush your hair before you do a video on YouTube, but I don't suppose it really matters anyway. But at the end of the day, I'm recording this video because I've got to think about what needs to be thought about on some of the videos because I haven't got a few ideas in my head yet. I did have some, but it seems to me as if they've all been done, basically. So I must have caught up with myself, basically. I can take these out because I'm not really listening to any music. I just stuck them in as I usually do sometimes, just in case I do put music on at any time, so I can just whack, so that I have to whack them in and then. Anyway, but the whole point of this blog is transgender law because it's been in the news recently, particularly this year. I think it was in America or something about transgender law and bits and pieces about it. I don't know too much about it, but it made me wonder about how I feel about things like this, transgenders and laws and things like that. And it's a very tricky subject because I believe that I will get on pretty much with mostly anybody. Um, and that is true. One of the hardest things for me though is how to define, well, not defining what a transgender is. I know what they are. I can I can see that. You know, there's no wrong if a man wants to be a woman or a woman wants to be a man. There's no wrong with that. I know my dad don't agree, but basically there's no wrong with that. The hardest the hardest thing for me, and I believe it's in the rules, but it's about transgender laws. It's about when you are a transgender, right? What toilet should you go in? Because this is what it always happens in the law. They basically say that, it's pretty simple for a lot of people, right? Because transgenders and people who are not necessarily all male or all female, they have it hard because we've got it easy. If we want to go to the toilet, we know which one we're going to go in. They don't. Well, they might do because they pretty much go into the one they feel inclined for. If you've got basically, if it's a male who basically dresses up as a woman and wants to be a woman, but might not technically be in that stage yet, it's the early stages of them being a man, it's very likely they're going to say, well, I consider myself a woman, therefore I'm going to go in the woman's toilets. But a lot of people may well turn around and say, but that's wrong. They shouldn't be doing that. Vice versa as well. Well, what do I think? What is my view on it? Well, personally, I think that if they are basically in that transition, if they've gone onto that transition for a long, long time and they are no longer considered a male, then they should go to basically the female toilet. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who's just starting the process. I don't want to say that there's this male down the road who's like for 6 months felt that he's belonging in the wrong body. He doesn't feel like he's a male anymore. He feels like he's a female. He's starting to dress in that way and hasn't got the basically hasn't transitioned yet into fully that kind of thing. Then I believe he should basically go to the male toilet. He should do that. I know it. I know people say, but why? Why would he be any different to say somebody who's on a transition? Well, the difference is people who are transitions may well not look so much like a male anymore, because that's basically what can happen. It's very easy when you want to turn into a woman to basically say, um, "I'm going to go and get a wig. I'm going to wear women's clothes. I'm going to go and get a wig." And people have to start accepting it when you start doing it. I would never do it, but people are going to start to accept that that's what they've got to do. it's very easy for them to say, well, I'm starting to do it, but you would look pretty much like a male. Unless you go through certain procedures in which happens to a lot of people. They go through the procedure of basically saying, well, that's it. I've gone through the procedure. I'm no longer considered a male. I'm now a female. And that could be somebody who's been doing that for a long time. Um, so it basically is what it is, you know. So it could basically be somebody who's 40 years old. It could be this female. You can go and meet somebody who's 40 and think nothing of it. You could just think nothing of it and say, basically, and they just say basically they are a female. They've got a female name. So when you go and meet them, and they say that their name is Louise, it's like, all right, hello, Louise. But you may not know some of their background until you speak to them, and they may well turn around and say, I used to be a male. They could have grown up until they were, say, 10 years old and realised they were trapped in the wrong body. Didn't believe that they were basically should have been a male. And when they were 10, they might have started dressing up in female. By which point, when they were 16, they may have gone through the procedure of, I'm now going to, because maybe it's the right age that they can, go through the procedure of being female. And that's where they do not have the you-know-what anymore. And it goes on from there. Where basically it's easy for them to have that transition. The transition would then be they're 40. They're no longer considered a male. They should not be considered a male. I know they were born one, and a lot of people say they are born one, and they are in what, but their family or friends would have to accept that they no longer are male, and therefore they will be considered to be female. So at the end of the day, their transition is basically that they are now considered to be a female. You've gone and had the procedure basically where they say that's it. So it's that easier said than done thing that for someone like that it's easier for them because they can just basically say I go to the female toilet. Because if they go to the male toilet, somebody might just say, well, you're not really a male, are you? They might not know who they are, so they might look at them and think they look pretty much decent enough to be a female. They look female enough, and think, well, why are you going into a man's toilet? Wouldn't that not be wrong? Even though they technically were male, they may not be now. It's when you start off, it's a bit hard. I think basically I have that view of how it should be, and I get on with pretty much anybody. I have no beef about this. I suppose in a lot of ways, for me to finish off this video, I think one of the things I always say is I tend to get on mostly with males who turn into females more. I think I more or less get on with that more. I probably do. I sometimes feel a bit when it's a female that goes into a male, because sometimes, I'm not saying I've met a lot of them, but it might be something like where I look at the person, I might think something like she's 20 years old or something like that, and I might look at her as a female and think she's beautiful, yet she might consider herself to be not beautiful and think, well, I'm in the wrong body. I want to be a man. I want to dress like a man. I want to be like a man and look like a man and all that kind of thing. And I often think, oh, why would you do that? It's as if to say they don't want to have a female haircut anymore, want to have a boy's haircut and all this and that. So sometimes I do prefer, and I'm not saying at the moment, but I have in the past probably spoken to one or two people, and they may well have been male before, and they've gone into that mode of I am female now and that kind of thing. And I don't mind. I treat everybody equally. I see people equally because I get on with everybody if I possibly can. But anyway, it's just my view on how it should be. But I think laws, they vary in UK, they vary in America. But I just think it's a hard one sometimes, maybe. But I just have my own view in how people should see this. If it's a particular law, like what toilet should basically transgenders go in, they should really go in the one that they feel. Well, not saying everyone's the same and everybody's the same, and they should go into the one that they feel comfortable in. I think, as I've quite rightly said, it's simple, right? If you're a male going to a female or female going to a male and you've only just started doing it, then really, because you're not into that transition yet, and very likely may not, or you will do if you're going to do that, then it really should be a case of you going to the one that you were born as, male, female, whatever. But if you've had the transition and you're no longer considered to be that person anymore, as in no longer considered to be male because you've transitioned into a female, then you should go into the female one. It's simple as that. That's how I see it anyway. But people are different. People have their own views. That's just the way I see it anyway. Well, I'm going to think about what videos I can do for the next few. And until then, bye for now.